I need a little introduction here. This woman about to grace us with her wisdom is a force of nature. And so, as naturally as it should be up here, Karesa McElheny.
I need this. Hello.
Hello.
Happy Wednesday. First of all, I really want to say that I'm honored and grateful just to be able to be up here and to be able to share some thoughts with you all. I so appreciate a place where the leadership is encouraging and allowing people to grow and to stretch themselves in numerous ways. So specifically, thank you to Reverend James for that. And also thank you to all of you who are in it with me in that growing and stretching process. So, I would like to start with a question. Are you ready to make a change?
Yes!
All right. Great. Okay, so the people who didn't say anything out loud, is the first thing that thought that jumped to your head was that yes? Did you actually think yes?
Yes. Yes.
Even when you don't know what I'm going to ask you to change? Isn't it amazing how we are so eager, most of us, we are so hungry for something different. Even if we aren't sure of what that is, we all yearn, we plan, we dream, we scheme, we set out goals, and we just want something new and exciting to come into our lives. We might know what we want, we might have goals that are all laid out to achieve it, but then sometimes that's where it stops. So now I feel that way. You know, I have been in the same job, had basically the same income level, been doing the same things, even though they might be a lot of fun, for a long time. I mean, really too long, right? So I want to change. I am ready for a change. So I've sat at my desk at work and I plotted, you know, and I've yearned and I vowed that things will change. And then they don't. And I've gone through that a number of times, a lot. So why does nothing really happen? Nothing really change? Why do I make a plan, actually take steps to make a difference, and then I stop? I lose momentum. Well, I think there are several reasons for this. The biggest one, of course, is making a decision. Maybe I haven't made a decision. The second biggest one is knowing exactly what you want. And the third biggest one, the granddaddy of them all, is knowing how to go about it. Not the how and how do we get it, but the how, the process of creating change. Now, all three of these are crucial. You know, sometimes we make a decision, we know what we want, but then the way we're going about it isn't working, doesn't seem to be working. So I recently had this little talk with myself, the Come to Jesus talk, and I decided once and for all that I was going to make a change. Things, they were changing. And this time I meant it. I really did. And it's so interesting to realize, in retrospect, once you actually have made a decision, how things just sort of subtly start falling in place. I was talking to my sister, this was a couple of weeks ago, and we have a little, recently we started doing this about a month or so ago, where Sunday nights we talk on the phone and we set goals and we hold each other accountable. And she was doing fantastic. You know, she's got this new career going. She's becoming a photographer. She was a wife and mother, non-working for a long time, and now she has to have a career. And so she's always been very interested in photography, and she's going gangbusters. She's, you know, accomplishing all of her goals and more. And I was feeling miserably. I just felt like I was so unfocused, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And so during one of our talks, I just said, you know what? The only thing I'm going to focus on this coming week is daily spiritual practice. That's the only thing I'm going to focus on. Everything else can just wait, because it's not working anyway. Oh, and another thing that happened a couple weeks before that was I just happened, because a couple people mentioned it to me just in passing about the thought exchange class, the final class. And I had no intention of going to that, but it was brought up a couple different times, and I said, okay, I'll go, I'll check it out. And I can't even tell you, I mean, if you were there, I just was kicking myself for not taking the whole class. But I was so galvanized by David Friedman's message, the simplicity and the logic of it, that I went home and I read the book in like a week. It was just really phenomenal. So the day after I had this talk with my sister, I had a meeting with James, Reverend James, because I wanted to implement this thought exchange idea in my life. And I was having, I felt like I needed a little outside help. So that meeting was really incredible because it changed my perception of not only the way that I viewed certain things that were going on in my life, but myself in my life and myself. So that was quite an incredible meeting. And then 2 days later, I started Prosperity Plus. It's just, like I said, incredible how all these things just kind of fall in place. You're not planning it. And it's not that the class just came along. I had made a decision, and the perfect class showed up. Now, all of you who have taken or are taking Prosperity Plus know how powerful it is, how incredible it is, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's this class, if it's CPR, if it's mental muscle, if it's any class, if it's a biology class, it doesn't matter what class it is. If you don't really do the work, nothing is going to change. It all boils down to that, right? So, when we know what we know, and we do know, why do we not do the work? Why, when we have heard testimonial after testimonial of amazing occurrences that people have been able to do because they practice these tools that we have taught, why do we still not commit to doing the work? Now, I'm talking the royal we, me, myself, and I. You might be perfectly doing the work, all of you. But I'm not talking about merely meditating every day or treating when we have a need or someone else has a need, or tithing or volunteering or being a really nice person. I mean, all those things are fantastic and wonderful tools, and they are essential to our growth. But what I'm really talking about is creating our reality. We have the ability, we have the capability to create our realities. But it takes work. Now, I believe it can actually be fun, but it seems like work. Now, I'm not saying that anyone is allergic to work. I know I am not allergic to work. But I think the biggest reason why it seems like work we don't want to do is because it is out of our comfort zone. Raymond Charles Barker says in The Power of Decision, fantastic book, old ideas have a tremendous hold on your subconscious mind. They are familiar territory. They require no great mental effort to keep them activated. You rethink them with ease. You've already convinced your subconscious mind that they are valid and warrant its continued operation of them. Ick. I was writing the other day, I was thinking about this, and I was wondering why I stay in certain situations that are no longer useful to me, that don't feed me, and I realized they are feeding something. They are feeding my comfort zone. That voracious part of myself that lives, and it lives on security and sameness, and hates being challenged. I picture it as me, you know, kind of this big, hulking blob. You know, like the Hulk, but maybe not so muscular, not quite so green, with a giant CZ on my chest. Not at all who I want to be, you know, but I keep eating. Anytime I do or think or feel something contrary to what I really want, I've determined that I'm going to put a big sign in my front yard, pounded in the front lawn, and say, please don't feed the comfort zone. In The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes says, we are given the power to sit in the midst of our lives and direct our activities. Strife and struggle are unnecessary. We only need to know, but we must know constructively. So the real work comes in being aware of what we are thinking and how we feel about those thoughts. Catching it whenever we are in doubt or worry, anger, despair. We need to stop those thoughts in their tracks and turn them around. Now, granted, that may seem like an impossible task. I know, when you're like awake at the middle of the night, 4 in the morning, I used to do this all the time, repetitively, the same thought over and over and over again, worrying, driving yourself crazy, right? You have to stop and turn those thoughts around. Now, at first, it seems practically impossible. You know, but like anything else, it gets easier with practice. At first, it's like you're driving a giant ocean liner and you're trying to stop that and turn it around. The effort just seems so great. But with practice, the boat gets smaller, keeps getting smaller, until finally you're on a little sunfish sailboat, skipping around on the waves, having a great old time. Ernest Holmes again says, that which thought has done, thought can undo. Lifelong habits of wrong thinking can be consciously and deliberately neutralized, and an entirely new order of mental and emotional reaction established in mind. Merely to abstain from wrong thinking is not enough. There must be active right thinking. So, what I have to do is actively replace my thoughts of freak out over money or some other highly calamitous situation with their opposite. And not just know what I want, but know it is mine already. And feel good about it. I mean, that's the crucial element I think we sometimes forget. Another Raymond Charles Barker thought from The Power of Decision: you cannot think and feel negatively over a period of time and have positive situations maintained in your experience. You know how they say happiness is a choice? Well, it's true. Another random occurrence that really wasn't random at all. I've had this book sitting on my bookshelf for, 4 or 5 years. Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting. Have you guys heard of that? By Lynn Grabhorn.
Yeah.
I picked it up. I started reading it. I was like, oh my God! I mean, it was so perfect. She's saying basically the same thing that Ernest Holmes says, but in different language. And she emphasizes the feelings. So the feelings, which are of course propelled by our thoughts, which are of course backed by our beliefs. So I decided to try an experiment, going on what she said about choosing your feelings and how incredibly important they were in the scheme of things. I decided to be happy for an entire day. I mean, really happy, you know, ridiculously happy about everything and everyone who I came into contact with. I had the most incredible day. I really did. It was unbelievable. So I did it again the next day. I was walking in the light. Thank you, Heather. And what is interesting to me, when you do this for a few days, you start to notice when things throw you off track. You really, really get what it is that, like when a negative situation, when something comes up and is pressing your buttons, it stands out so much because it's so opposite of what you've been feeling. So then you have the opportunity to really analyze that and figure out why that's happening. So, this is where I am in my journey. I'm playing with creating a happy, prosperous life, one where I'm always grateful and giving, and one where I receive so much back. I mean, isn't that what we all say we want? Or some variation of it? So, don't feed the comfort zone. I envision my comfort zone morphing into something entirely different. A superhero, Super K-Bag. One of those superpowers that, my superpowers come from a diet of gratitude, specific desires made manifest, and being and remembering exactly who I am, the best me. Because I have let go of my doubt and fear, the fruitless despair and anger that my life is not going the way I wanted it to. I can let it all go because I realize, finally, truly, that God is my source. That I do actually have the power and the ability to create the life I want. All it takes is a few finely tuned desires, a cup of gratitude, dollop of mental elbow grease, fill to the brim with happy, blend, and enjoy.